Hello and welcome, my fellow nerds. Fuego here. Thanks for joining me. Today, I just wanted to take a minute to break down one of my favorite modern decks, which is a Rakdos Elemental build. Just something I've been working on, and I thought I would share it with you, maybe get some feedback on it. So, for aggro decks that use red, I'm a big fan of Playmat Courier. It just comes out the gate, starts doing damage, and it can help restock your hand, especially when you're in a deck that dumps its hand really quick. So, got a suite of Bowmats in there. I'm sure there might be something better, but I think that's a fun one out the gate. And of course, for an elemental deck, we're going to have Spark Elemental, which is basically just a bolt on a body. So got a few of those guys in there. And the real reason for the deck, Lightning Skelemental. 6/1 Trample Haste. When it deals combat damage, that player discards 2 cards, which is absolutely brutal. I mean, the goal is to get this guy out and then keep bringing him back. This is basically what the whole deck revolves around. Everything else is just to help support Lightning Skelemental. And like all elementals, you sack him at your end step. So we definitely have 4 Skelementals. And then we have Discount Skelemental, just the ball lightning. 6/1 Trample Haste without the discard, but it does take 3 red. A little rougher, but hey, it's an elemental deck, that's what we're doing. And this guy helps out so much. He's part of the Skelemental engine, if you will. Thunderkin Awakener, 1/2 haste. Whenever it attacks, choose an elemental creature in your graveyard with toughness less than its toughness, and return that card to the battlefield tapped and attacking. So basically, you can get him out. He's hasty. So you drop him, attack with him, bring back either a ball lightning or a Skelemental, hopefully. And pretty much you're always going to have an elemental in your graveyard. This guy does a lot of the heavy lifting with Skelemental. So you're going to want 4 of that guy. And this one I haven't gotten a chance to use very much. Jury, Master of the Review. But it seems to fit in really nicely with the sacrifice mechanic. So whenever you sacrifice, you put a +1 counter on him. When he dies, he deals damage equal to his power to any target. And we have ways to make him die. So I think he's just kind of cool to hang out while you're sacrificing elementals, build him up, and then fling him at a later date when it's, the appropriate time. Jury is still out on Jury, but we will see. I'll have to play a few more games to see if he's worth the slot. Now, on to spells. Another new one I'm trying out is Ob Nixilis. He works off of sacrificing things for the casualty. And you can do some damage. And yeah, gain you some life. Create some devils. Yeah, I mean, he works with the sacrifice. I mean, I'm sacrificing my elementals anyway. I might as well sack them early to get extra copies of Ob and have him do dirty things. So again, I haven't gotten a chance to try him out too much, but he seems to fit the theme of the deck very nicely. So we will see about that. Unearth, super powerful. Return target creature card with CMC 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. And yeah, that hits my Skelemental, that hits my ball lightning. I am happy to unearth any of the big hitters. So it does the, similar to the Thunderkin Awakener, just recurring my Skelementals. Fling is fantastic. After you hit with any of your elementals, if you've got the mana, you can fling them as well before you sacrifice them. So really, in one turn, you hit with an elemental for 6, you fling for another 6, that's 12 damage, it's brutal, and it can close out the game. So if you've got the extra 2 mana, it it does the job and it can close it out. And it wouldn't be an aggro red deck without a full suite of lightning bolts. Got those pretty ones. But yeah, that's another one. You draw some cards, you hit some lightning bolts. Basically another bolt, because you're always attacking with a creature. And if it gets through, especially with the trample ones, this basically is just another bolt. Double the power of any target creature. Yeah. My big creatures are 6/1s. If I can make them a 12 trample. It also helps just to make sure, even if they have blockers, that the Skelemental gets through and they'll have to discard 2 cards. So, another fun one. It just helps to get that damage across the line. One I was trying out, and I like how it plays. I mean, I don't have any white in the deck, but 1 red, it'll pump the creature for 1. And since I'm sacking all of my creatures essentially at the end step, I'm gonna get a 3/2 spirit token. So, hey, extra damage and an extra body for 1 mana. Feels good. So if you've got that 1 mana, you don't know what to do with it, you pump your creature, you sack it at the end of turn, and get an extra body on the field. So I've got a few of those. Just some split second removal, and a sacrifice at that, which is nice. Gets around some of the trickier creatures in Modern. Yeah, definitely. And we're going to want to refill our hand, draw some cards. The extra cost of sacrificing a creature is no big deal, because I sacrifice my creatures anyway. So I might as well sack them before the end step and get a few cards. I mean, 2 cards for 1 black. Seems like a good deal. Sometimes you just need to pick up those pieces to close out the game. And then, as far as land, it's just your standard Modern suite of fetches, shocks. I do like the flip lands, the pathway lands. I think they're useful. Cairns, and then a few basics, because you always want to have some basics. So that is essentially the deck. It's pretty straightforward. It's just getting damage across the line as quickly as possible, bringing back your Skelemental as often as possible. And, I mean, of course you gotta have a sideboard, and then some maybe slot-in type cards. Thoughtseize, super important for Modern. Extirpate, Kolaghan's Command. Just a few more removals, some lockdown stuff. Maybe you're up against life gain, not as common, but it's nice to have the option. And Storm's Wrath seems okay. 4 damage to each creature in Planeswalker, depending on what deck you're against, because it really doesn't matter to you if everything that you have dies, because you're bringing everything back anyway. And Fulminator Mage. Sure. So, that is my Rakdos Elemental. It can really catch people by surprise. Does a lot of damage. You know, by turn 3, you're swinging in for 6, 12, and more. Alright, it's a lot of fun. Catches people by surprise, which I love. Let me know what you think. If there's anything that could be a nice addition, I'd love to hear about it. Let me know in the comments. And you all have a fabulous day. Thanks.